So you know when you're not feeling 100% well? And I'm not talking about you're throwing up all day, stuck in bed with the sky-high fever. I'm talking about when just maybe your eyes feel a little bit heavy. You got a little bit of a headache. Your belly doesn't feel quite right. Well, what happens after these moments? Usually, maybe you get some more rest, you hydrate up, and then 2 days later, you're feeling back to 100%. Or maybe you don't make any changes, and then 2 or 3 days later, you got a full-blown illness and you miss the next week out of service. Well, what if I told you there's a similar self-improvement virus that might be floating around in your system right now? You're not aware of it yet, but it might be holding you back massively. And look, man, these are not the typical bad habits that you know about. You know you're not supposed to be doing them. These are the hidden vices. The ones that you don't even realize have been holding you back. All right, fuck it, let's get it. Number 1, using women. So you know a lot of girls these days, they use men for validation. Maybe there's a girl that you're texting and whenever you ask her to hang out, she ghosts you or she makes some excuse. And then 2 weeks later, when you stop texting her, she reaches back out and is like, hey, how's it going? That shit sucks, right? Like these girls literally just keep these men in orbit around them in the friend zone. But whenever they're feeling a little insecure, they reach out so you can text them and they can feel better about themselves. And while this definitely is a more feminine tendency, kind of manipulating other people to feel better about yourself, as men, sometimes we can do the same thing. And that's my question for you. Right now, how are you using women for validation? And you might be thinking,
nah, David, I don't do that. You're full of shits.
But be honest with yourself. For me, once I got past that initial stage of zero confidence with girls where I couldn't even talk to them, I didn't have a girlfriend until I was 24 years old. That's when I would go out and start approaching girls and getting phone numbers. And I'd, maybe talk to 2 girls at the gym, 3 girls at the bar. I'd get 3 phone numbers in 1 week and I'd be like, I got 3 phone numbers. I got the results I wanted. Now I'm at home texting these girls, telling my friends about these girls that I'm texting. But is that really what I wanted? Some numbers in my phone? No, I was just using these girls to feel better about myself, to feel like, see, girls like me, they're into me. Maybe you're still chasing empty hookups where the next morning you wake up. And be honest with yourself. Did you really enjoy that experience the night before? Or did you just make it happen because you knew that you could and now you feel more like a man because you got another +1 to your lay count? And I'm not saying that there can never be an enjoyable one-night stand, but those of us who've had that life and lived it, I think if we're being real, most of the time, it was using the woman. Now, the way that you overcome this feminine tendency, this vice, is that you start to focus on the action rather than the results. When you see a girl that you're genuinely interested in, do you go and approach her? Even if it doesn't work out, that's the action. Or maybe it's this really hot girl at the gym and you're afraid that, man, she's probably not gonna say yes to me, so I'll just go home and swipe on Bumble a little bit more and get some more fake validation so I feel good about myself. Number 2, envy versus Apprentice. So Dan Bilzerian, he used to always have an army of these really attractive Instagram models around him, and I think he might be the most hated man in the world, at least the most hated man by other men. He's just paying these girls to be around him. He's such a loser. I think he actually has a really shitty jawline. He just has that big beard to hide the shitty jawline. Men just love to hate Dan. And why do you think that is? What do you think the reason is that most guys hate him? Well, as men, we have something called pride. We want to be proud of ourselves. And if we see another guy who has a lot of things that we'd like to have, he's further along than we are, it's just easier to hide that envy, because if we have the envy and we're aware of it, it kind of makes us feel less proud, like he's better than me. So it's easier to hide that envy with hate. Like I used to be really, really uncomfortable if I was hanging out with other guys that were more successful than me. I guess I was a bit intimidated or I felt less than them. So I shut down a bit. And probably one of the most important things I did to get from that old version of David to this new one is that I got rid of the envy mindset and I adopted what I like to call the apprentice mindset. Now when I meet a guy who I know is more successful than me in some regard, maybe he has a bigger business than I do, to me that is like a golden fucking opportunity. I'd much rather have that opportunity than hanging out with a bunch of guys that are behind me, but they're, sucking up to me and that makes me feel better about myself. Yeah, I'll walk away from that interaction with some validation maybe, but when I'm with a guy ahead of me, 2 things happen. First of all, I realize that, holy shit, I can actually get to that next level, because if this guy did it, I can too. Like back in 2018, I got sponsored by Alpha League Clothing, and then I had the opportunity to go and shoot in Houston with Christian Guzman. And that experience of being around him, seeing how he filmed his YouTube videos, how he operated his business, it opens my mind up to, yeah, I can make this shit happen too. And as soon after that is when my channel launched up to 1 million subscribers and my clothing brand Edge Lifestyle took off. It makes it fucking real in your head. And even more than that, it's an opportunity to get feedback from someone ahead of you. No, not every time you hang out with someone who's ahead of you, they're gonna give you feedback for your situations, but a lot of times it happens. And that feedback is valuable because that person has gotten from where you are to where they are, and they know how to make it happen. At this point, I've realized there's always gonna be men ahead of me, there's always gonna be men behind me, and being envious of the guys ahead of me, it's just pointless. It just keeps me stuck where I'm at. Fuck that, I wanna grow. Number 3, the Instagram crush. So you probably realize that if you have a crush, there's a girl you like, you have your eye on her, you think about her, you fantasize about you guys being together, you probably realize that you're already in the friend zone at that point, and that's some really simpy shit to do. If there's a girl I like, I just ask her out, and either I go on a date with her or she's removed from my brain. I'm not gonna waste a bunch of time, hoping that it could happen. But what you might not realize is that you might have some crushes right now on Instagram. You know what I'm saying, man? There's probably like 3 to 5 super hot girls that are just your type, and from time to time, you check in on any new posts that they have, you watch through their stories. And the scary thing is, even if you don't follow them, Instagram, the algorithm knows that you like them, so it probably makes sure that you see all their new shit. And look, I'm guilty of this too. Instagram is dangerous. So now that you're aware and you're thinking about these girls, here's a reminder for you. She does not know who you are. She will never know who you are. And even if you're a super successful, confident guy, if you send her a DM, guess what? She's getting validation daily from the comments and DMs, and you're just gonna get grouped in with all of those simpy men. There is nothing to gain. There is only your time, focus, self-respect, self-esteem to lose from going down this path. So you must at all costs stay off of the Explore page. If you don't follow her and you never go on the Explore page, then you can never see her posts, unless you type it in the search bar at the top. Don't do that either. Instead, just focus on the girls you actually have a chance with, the women who you see throughout your day or that you can match with on a dating app. Those are real opportunities, not these IG hoes. Now, real quick, aside from the 6 things we're taking a look at in this video, all of us have vices of our own. Maybe for you, it's fapping to porn or video games or drinking or doing drugs, or something I see a lot of guys doing in 2024 is vaping. Well, what if I told you there is a better alternative that helps you kick that bad habit in an enjoyable way? Well, that is why I decided to partner with Fume to be the sponsor of today's video. So basically, Fume is an award-winning flavored air device. It draws an enjoyable flavor into your mouth and helps fill the void that ditching a bad habit can leave. Now when you get that urge, now you have something to reach for. And just to be clear, Fume is not a vape. There is no vapor. You can use it anywhere. There's no nicotine, it's not addictive, and there's no batteries, so you never have to charge it. Plus, it just feels high quality. It's got a good weight to it, and it's made to be fun to fidget with because it has a little magnetic mechanism in there that pops back into place. There's a bunch of different flavors to choose from orange, vanilla to cinnamon. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you could be the next success story. For a limited time, you can use my code HowToBeast to get your free topper, which is the perfect accessory for your Fume device. Just head to tryfume.com, that is tryfum.com, and use code HowToBeast, or scan that QR code on the screen right there to get your free Fume topper when you order your journey pack today. Number 4, permission. So all of us grew up in the modern school system, and of course there are some valuable things that we learned. However, there are also some side effects that we carry with us even years after we've graduated and stopped going to class. For example, we had to ask for permission before we could do anything in school. Can I go to the bathroom? This is my homework. Did I do it okay? I was sick the last 2 days. What do I have to make up? Is it okay if I handwrite out my essay instead of typing it out? It's like we were trained that we need to have our hand held for everything that we do. If there are no instructions and you have to figure something out on your own, that's scary, man. That's not how we were taught. That's not how we do it. So my question for you is, how is this playing out in your life right now? Maybe it helps you be a better employee at your workplace and follow all the rules there. And how is it maybe hurting you or holding you back? Man, for me, when I decided I wanted to quit my first corporate job and try personal training, it held me back so much because no one would give me the permission to do it. I would ask my parents or my friends or my uncles what they thought about it, and all of them said, no, it probably makes more sense to keep working your software career because you can make money there. And that paralyzed me because no one would give me permission to do the thing I wanted to do. And that's probably the main reason, even more so than the fear of failure, that I procrastinated and did not take that leap of faith for a full year. But eventually I worked up the courage to give myself permission to do it anyway. And that changed my life forever. Because once you give yourself permission one time to do something different, well, guess what? Now you have the power to give yourself permission for everything else that you want to do. There's a lot of things you're going to want to do in life that other people are not going to understand, so they're not going to give you that permission, even if they love you and support you. What have you not gone for in life because you're still waiting for permission? Whatever it is, now is the time to give yourself permission. And if that's too scary, well, guess what? I give you permission. It's time to go for it. Number 5, pressure. So there's something else I learned from the school system, but this is actually a positive thing. So when a teacher gives you a project or a homework assignment, what is the very first thing they tell you? They tell you the due dates. They tell you the date by which it needs to be done. And that's so important because that creates pressure. You now have pressure to get it done by this date, because if not, there's going to be some negative consequences. You're going to get a worse grade, or your parents are going to get mad at you. And if your grade keeps going down, maybe you have detention or like community service you have to do. You don't want to do that shit. You do everything in your power to get it done because of the pressure. And that's probably why when we finally graduate and leave school, one of the best parts, one of the most freeing parts about that is no longer do we have this constant pressure. No longer is there a new assignment that needs to be done. And that becomes a hidden vice that most of us have. We want to hide from that pressure because we don't like how it feels. And without that pressure, what happens? You tell me. We get lazy, we get comfortable, we just want to play video games and watch Netflix after work. We don't want to have to think, we want to turn our brain off, man, anything but feeling pressure. And if that's what you value more than anything, having a comfortable life without pressure, well then proceed. But if you want to reach the next level with your money, with your body, with your relationships, well, there needs to be pressure, or you're never going to take the drastic measures that are needed to make those changes happen. So tell me, what is something you want to achieve soon? Maybe you want to launch your first business or start a YouTube channel. Okay, so by when is that happening? Oh, what? You don't have an answer for that. You just want to start your YouTube channel soon. You want to start your business soon. Well, bro, there's no fucking pressure. It's not going to happen. So I'm going to ask you again, by when is that happening? All you motherfuckers better be writing a date down on your phone right now, putting it in the calendar. And what's the first step that needs to happen already today so that you reach that due date? Maybe you need to brainstorm your first 5 video ideas. And if it does not happen by then, maybe you wrote down October 1st, I'm uploading my first YouTube video. If it does not happen by October 1st, what are the fucking consequences? You tell me. Maybe it's no Netflix at night. Maybe it's you take cold showers every night. There needs to be a consequence. There needs to be a deadline, or there's never going to be pressure, and it's not going to happen. Number 6, making exceptions. So something that I used to always think was, I'm not successful with women because I'm successful in other areas. I'm a good athlete. You know, I'm staying fit. I'm doing well with my studies. I got a really good career job. So, you know, based on that, it's not that important that I'm not good with women because I got these other things going for myself, right? I've also met not just one, but a couple very wealthy, successful men recently who were completely out of shape with a belly. And beyond just not being healthy, it does affect, especially when you're a high-performing guy and you're around other men like that, they're less likely to take you serious and respect you if you're not fit. But these guys were telling themselves, man, I've just been, grinding so hard lately and I have a girlfriend, so, it's not that important for me to be fit. Maybe you're thinking, because I live in a small town, I'm not going to have these big opportunities. I'm a special snowflake. I'm a special case. You tell me, what is the exception that you've been making for yourself? What is the thing that doesn't apply to you because you're so special, bro? Your exception is bullshit. The exception I was making for myself was bullshit, and it just caused me to waste a few years of my life trying to feel good about myself while I was avoiding the one thing that I knew I had to get handled. It ends now. Let's all make a commitment. The exception ends right fucking now. Now, if you're serious about taking your life to the next level, then you need to watch that video next. It is about the 6 stages of self-improvement. You need to understand which stage you're on now so that you don't get stuck and you can keep advancing to the next level. Click there to watch that now. If you're new to the channel, click down there to subscribe, as I release 2 new videos every single week and you don't want to miss them. I'll talk to you in the next video. Stay beastly.